Scott not gonna be here?
He's taking care of his mom right now.
I talked to him earlier this week, and that's what he
Yeah.
said.
All right, it's all yours.
Good evening. I'll call to order the August 24th, 2023 Maumelle Planning Commission regular meeting. Are there any announcements?
Yes, we had a couple plats filed actually in the last 24 hours. Develop End was filed. The infrastructure is not complete, but there was a performance bond that's been issued for it, so they're allowed to proceed with starting to get building permits. And then also Isabel Court Townhomes was filed as well yesterday.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Before you have received a copy of the minutes from July 27th, 2023. Those were provided to you. Hopefully you've had time to review those. I'll entertain any discussion for those if there's any corrections or additions to that.
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second motion to approve the minutes as recorded. I'd like to have a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. We are approved. I did not see any public comment cards to discuss, so we'll proceed with our normal agenda. Our city council, our legal attorney is not here, so I might have to defer some conversation to you. So, correct. I want to have a, we'll open for public hearing and also now entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add the Ascent Development annexation order under new business. Now that was received information that was sent to all of you, so I would need a motion to entertain that discussion.
I'll make that motion to entertain that discussion, Mary.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you for the first and second motion. We will add the annexation of Ascent Development.
You got both of it.
Thank you, sir. Let's have a vote on that. Let us vote on the motion to add, amend the agenda to add Ascent Development annexation to new business. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Okay, we have an approval to add the annexation amendment to the agenda under new business. So we'll do that as item number 3 under new business. Okay, under old business, we have for the last 3 months been discussing opportunities to improve or amend the public notification code, which is in your packet as well. Jason and all of us have done work in reviewing those recommendations. So there's 3 areas that we're doing amendments to. It's section 9410, section 5479, and section 94-451. So knowing that is before you, I'd like us to talk through any discussion before even entertaining a motion to move this forward. If there are any questions, or Jason, any additional information you want to supply.
Yeah, so if you're looking at your packet, and when I'm scrolling across on the screen, the main areas are in red. They're marked out. That have been changed since the previous meeting. It was also through discussions at the meeting as well. For instance, 9410, and I believe a couple others. The adjacent property, just basically, plan director may reasonably increase the notification area for any application at his discretion. Just kind of pretty flatly points out at the discretion of the planning director. Page 2, no other changes from what you've seen in the past month. The big changes in 94-451, and I believe this comes out of discussion from last month on clarifying the community meeting regarding PRDs and PCDs. As you'll see, number 2 is pretty much all marked out, with the exception of a community meeting held by the applicant or their representatives at a location approved by the planning director. So coming in with a PCD, PRD, the planning director will have to approve the site chosen for the community meeting, which, again, the community meeting is not necessarily going to be at City Hall. It could be at a facility that has a much greater impact to the community that the rezoning or PRD is affecting. So with that, we've added 4C, talking about the community meeting. I can read it off if you'd like. A applicant seeking that a plan unit development of property shall hold a community meeting prior to submission of their preliminary development plan for review by the city. The applicant shall notify owners of all lands within 300 feet of the affected property via certificate of mailings at least 7 days prior to the meeting, and shall submit to the staff the day, time, and location of the meeting for approval. Planning director may reasonably increase the notification area at his discretion. The city may also give notice of the public meeting on its website, but the city's failure to give notice of the community meeting on website shall not affect the validity of any subsequent action by the planning commission or the council. A roster list of attendees along with any comments or feedback from the community and proof of certificate of mailing shall be provided as part of the application submission to the city. And then going into what's now section D, again, it's taking out the adjacent properties and just making it easier to read. With that said, that is the staff comments on it.
I'll also point out that the posting signs on page 3, section A, that was changed to 15 days from the 14 days, so the days are now matching.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Any further?
Madam Chairperson,
Yes, sir.
I believe this is a recommendation to the city
Yes, it is.
director. Okay, I'd make that motion that we approve the amendment to 9410, 5479, and 94551.
451.
What'd I say?
451.
451, what'd I say, 5?
Yeah.
Something? Okay. Thank you for correction.
Second.
Thank you. Hearing a first and a second, we will go to a vote. All those in favor of recommending a due pass to take this public notification code amendment to City Council, please signify by stating yes.
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 All those opposed signify by stating no. This is passed unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to new business. Item number 1 is SUB 23-18, Tri-Victus replat extension request. My understanding, this is the first of an allowed 2 extension requests, and they're asking for a 6-month extension.
1 year, isn't it?
It says request for 6-month extension, so it could be a total of a year if there were 2, if that's what you're asking.
Well, I was just looking at the letter.
Yeah, the letter asked for a
A
year.
year?
The letter asked for a year.
Put it wrong on the agenda.
I'm so sorry,
my
good
apologies.
catch. No, good catch, thank you. For 1 year. We'll correct that to state 1 year.
I believe this was discussed. Was this discussed at subcommittee, this item?
It
Okay.
wasn't that subcommittee.
So, with that,
All right, so we would entertain a motion.
Before you do that, I'd like to ask
Sure.
the project manager, Mr. Andrews, question.
Roy Andrews, 200 Casey Drive.
Yeah, Roy, the letter in here basically is stating that you haven't completed the replat process because you've been focusing on Villages of Maumelle construction. What does it take just to replat something? What's involved with that?
There's not a lot involved with replatting that, but it could change what we're Mr. Pfeiffer may be doing on the rest of that property, and if that were to change a little bit, because that ties back into what's on Commercial Park Drive.
But that would come in with a totally new request, would it not?
It could change a little bit, and we thought it would be easier just to wait until we got that done.
Well, yeah, I'm not 100% opposed, but I'm not 100% in favor of a one-year extension. I think that they need to move along. It's already been a year,
Okay.
but that's my opinion.
Could we entertain a time period then and make that as part of the motion or not?
I was thinking more along the lines of what you said, 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. And realistically, it wouldn't even take that long to replat it.
But I think, doesn't the code allow them to do a year extension?
Yes.
And they don't have to have a reason why. The code says that they're allowed to ask for an extension, and it doesn't say that you have to have a hardship or anything. They're just entitled to it.
No, you said they're asking for it. I'm also entitled to say, no, I don't agree with it. But again, that's my opinion.
Are you looking at it
So-
or?
All right.
I'll say that I'm not sure offhand, which I think is why Jason is looking it up.
Yeah. So when I look up extensions, it says the city may allow an extension to the 6-month period. Well, this is talking about 6 months. And a lot of it is coming back to final plats and improvements. And this is not the first time we've had this extension come up, but typically when you are requesting an extension, I mean, there is necessarily a reason for it. And I think the reasoning is given in their letter. If you look at the commercial park area, I mean, there is some, obviously, the Village of Maumelle project is going. And I think the plan, I believe, is to roll, I believe is it lot 1 or 2? Which part is?
Lot 2.
Lot 2 into the previously approved Harrison Pfeiffer, to go into that block 8. But let me, if y'all want to keep discussing, let me look it up. But typically,
No, I want to keep discussing. I just
Yeah.
voiced my opinion.
Yeah.
If someone wants to make a motion, let's move it on.
I'll look to the commissioners then. Do we want to entertain a motion for a 1-year extension, the first extension on this request? A Tri-Victus replat extension.
I'll make a motion to approve the Tri-Victus replat extension request for 1 year for lots 1A and 1B.
I'll second.
Thank you, commissioners. We have a first and a second. I'll put this now to vote. Those in favor of moving forward to honor the request for a 1-year extension for Tri-Victus replat lots 1A and 1B, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, please signify by saying no. We have approval for the extension of 1 year.
Thank you.
Second item is SUB-22-16 Burkhalter Business Park Lot 2 extension request as well. Excuse me, in the letter, it is also asking approval for 1 year to extend that request for 1 year for preliminary plat for Lot 2 Burkhalter Business Park.
Madam
Any
Chairman, my
discussion?
comments will carry forward from my previous comments
Jason, did they require it to be done prior to it expiring? Like the month in advance?
I try to give them notices, to do it. In this case, I think this one, may have been in July and I didn't catch it, and so I actually notified the applicant to please submit for this month. Also, something to note on this, preliminary plat as well is it has a site plan tied to it that was previously approved. And site plans also are required to actually have a, building permit, not approved but applied for within a 2-year period. So this project has, by next July, August, will also have to have a building permit at least applied for and under review, or else the site plan would expire and have to go back to planning commission at that point. So that there is a plat the plat is actually tied to the site plan as well. But this would be the same, this is a similar situation of, moving forward.
Are there any other questions for discussion or comments?
Well, is there anything else hindering them being able to?
I think it's just Burkhalter hadn't gotten to that yet. I think he took a little more fill. That site changed a little bit due to Tractor Supply, and he didn't get to it in time in his agenda of what he's got going on, so it didn't get done.
Which is a lot typically.
Yeah. But I know there's been several people that have asked about that. I mean, I think if he were to build that, I think it would fill up.
Mm-hmm.
Any further comments? Okay, I will entertain a motion then to approve an extension request for preliminary plat for Lot 2 Burkhalter Business Park.
I'll make a motion to approve the extension request for preliminary plat for Lot 2 Burkhalter Business Park.
I'll second that, Mary.
Thank you, commissioners. With that first and second motion, we will now go to vote. So all those in favor of approving the extension request for preliminary plat for Lot 2 Burkhalter Business Park, please signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed, please say no. We have affirmed approval of item number 2, the
Thank you.
Burkhalter Business Park extension. Thank you. All right, so then on item 3, this will be the added agenda item, which is the annexation of Ascent, hang on here, the Ascent Development. It's a proposed annexation, and this, in your packet again, this was reviewed back in January of 2023. It is coming back to us from earlier, I think it was this week's city council meeting. There was some discussion. I know, Mr. Mosley, you were present as well. My understanding is that the judge commented that we have to have requirements about the street on the annexation. So I know you have to give us an update and a professional opinion on this, because what we were talking about in our minutes from January, there was a statement in there where Commissioner Fisher made a motion for due pass recommendation to City Council to approve the proposed Ascent Development annexation contingent on meeting all staff, commissioner, and county comments. So we were hoping that was enough, but we would entertain your
Yes, so
submission of this.
the county judge, and I think he probably does this on every approval of an annexation, he requires the cities to also annex any abutting or traversing roads or rights of way. And when we were looking through the drawings, I don't know if we brought this up or if the developer brought this up, we noticed that the abutting street was not actually on the drawings. So there might be a question of whether, when the city council approved the annexation, because there wasn't the road drawn on the drawings that they saw, whether they were explicitly annexing the road. So we're just really crossing our Ts. And then it's back here before you all, because when Scott was looking at this, at the ordinance, he noticed that it requires a recommendation from the planning commission as well. We're just crossing our Ts though.
Okay.
So if, Commissioners, if you were to look at 7132B11C, it says, this is where Scott was looking at it. Actually 11B and C. So streets which have been previously dedicated and accepted by the county will become city streets upon annexation. These streets will be maintained at or above the physical condition upon annexation. C, streets which have been previously fully maintained by the county for which no dedication is on record will become city streets upon annexation only if a formal dedication is made. Such dedication shall be reviewed by the planning commission and accepted by the city council as prescribed by law. No improvements or construction shall be required, and these streets will be maintained at or above their physical condition upon annexation. I believe this last part I just read, C, basically, such dedication shall be reviewed by the planning commission and accepted by the city council is where the discussion question is coming up. And I think that we're having to do a corrected ordinance. I think in Scott's opinion, it was not formally reviewed by the planning commission. So this discussion basically allows it as a formal review and notification by the planning commission.
But again, the point would be is that if we have anything that we're approving that has to go to the county, and we have several of those, if we say subject to county approval and the county changes something, then does it all have to come back and go all over again? That's what I'm hearing.
I think it would depend on what the county changed. To my eye, the only issue here was that there was nothing explicit on the ordinance that was given to the city council and on the drawings that were attached to the ordinance to the city council showing the road. That, to my eye, that was the only hiccup, I think.
Well, you know, it's just clarification, so ongoing and in the future, we just need to know if we're saying contingent upon county, you know, comments, what is there that the county can come back with? And we have to go through the thing again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to give you a lawyer answer.
I understand.
That it depends.
But like I said, in this particular situation, you know, taking on that additional, I guess it's a half street is
Yep.
what they're taking on, to me is incidental.
I agree.
And I don't know why it would have to come back to us, but that, you know, if it has to, it has to.
I think going forward, what we're gonna do is when we do annexation ordinances, we're gonna put in the boilerplate that the county judge wants, saying that the city council understands that the city is taking in abutting roads. So we won't have to do this two-step thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You might want to give some consideration about what other things could come up too.
Yep.
Just to cover, because like I said, it doesn't make sense, we have to keep coming back and forth.
Right. I agree.
And I appreciate that as well, and then going forward, that goes in that summary document that we always review based, you know, at the, after subcommittee, it's detailed in there, and those are questions we can ask as well.
So this will be the nicest part of that whole road. It'll look beautiful for about 45 feet or 50 feet, whatever. Okay.
Well, and then also to get to it, to make any improvements to potholes,
Yeah.
the city's
All
going to
that
have to
flown
travel
in.
a long way to get to it.
That'll be, all that material will be flown in.
Yeah.
Applied.
Yeah, yeah.
Any further comments, questions? All right, so then I will entertain a motion for a due pass recommendation to take the annexation for Ascent Development annexation to City Council.
So moved.
Smooth move. Second.
Second? All right, we will go to vote then. We have a first and a second motion for recommendation due pass to City Council for the Ascent Development annexation.
County
Hearing.
Judge amendment.
Pardon?
County Judge's
With,
amendment.
do I need to say that with the county?
I think it's clear that we're all talking about with,
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
road abutting,
Okay.
yes.
All right,
Steve,
sir.
you clear on that?
I'm barely catching this here.
He's snoozing.
Would you like, yes.
I'm Steve Mosley, 16 Riverwood Place. I'm city council member, Ward 1. Yeah, my question is, do we need to go back? And since you guys are just now recommending a do pass on this street thing, do we need to go back and start over on this thing?
No, I talked with Scott about this, because we caught it before the third reading, it's just gonna be up on third reading.
All
I
right.
think maybe we'll provide an update to the council members that it has been reviewed and approved by the planning commission.
Now, there was also a Judge Valines, his letter, it was in error in that they used Little Rock instead of Maumelle. Is that something that should hang us up here? Do we need to get a corrected version of that?
No, I don't think it will. I saw that as well. I think we just call that a Scrivener's error.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we have first and second motion for a due pass recommendation to city council for the Ascent Development annexation. With that, I will ask for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. We have the recommendation to City Council for a due pass recommendation to City Council for the Ascent Development annexation approved to go forward. Thank you. This closes public hearing. We can move on to city liaison reports. Commissioner Ramsey?
I left all my stuff at the office, so watch the video.
And then for the August 21st with Chairman Johnson, I did, knowing Craig wouldn't be here, I did watch the 21st meeting, and as we had stated, there was the second reading on the ordinance 1093, changing the names of Commercial Park Drive to Maumelle Village Drive, and the second reading of ordinance 1094, accepting dedication of certain streets and drainage with no objections to the development known as Cypress Bend at Maumelle Crossing, and then second reading ordinance 1095, accepting and annexing public road and rights of way, that abut certain annexed land. So that's what this was about. Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, I think Commissioners, on August 7th, and the only changes, those three that our chairwoman mentioned were first readings at that meeting, and I believe the Acre Pharmacy PRD, preliminary development plan, was approved at that meeting as well. And I think those were the only planning actions.
All right, thank you, Jason. September 5th, Commissioner Ray, and September 18th, Commissioner Smith, you're assigned to City Council liaisons.
Commissioner Ray, remember September 5th is a Tuesday due to the Labor Day holiday. Obviously, the council meetings are typically the first and third Mondays, but Labor Day pushes everything to a Tuesday.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Well, with the first and second,